Glories of the Things, take one.
Glories of the Things.
So, Matthew Adams, aka Julius Way,
Yeah.
slowly dying, perhaps already dead.
Yeah, dead and resurrected.
What's the name of this new album?
The Husk.
The Husk.
Yes.
Did we come up with that?
We kind of came up with it, kind of.
We were listening to something.
That conversation with that guy talking about death.
Right.
Stephen Jenkinson or something.
Yeah. And what was the context of the Husk?
As I burn off these things, these kind of false ideas of self, as I've said, I always felt like every time I make an album, it's kind of like sweating out these kind of old ideas that are ready to be gone. I've carried the notion that underneath all of that mud and gunk and stuff, there's going to be this golden thing, this golden shining being. As it burns off, there will be glorious. Here I am, finally arrived. And actually, then the more I get to the other side of that journey of burning those things off, it's like there's nothing much there left over. Hence the empty husk thing. You know? It's like, oh, I thought I was going to be like kind of me as I know me, but the shiny, polished version without the annoying things that I didn't want. I always feel like music I write is like a swan song. It's like a dying kind of echo of some part that is being disintegrated, and as it disintegrates, this sort of song of death emanates from it.
Requiem.
Yeah, it's kind of a sweetness to the song. Because, you know, it's like, I think a lot of the time, if people like my music, like I've had a couple of messages from people since I put out the single along the lines of like, I hope you keep making music because this is really valuable stuff. And it's funny because I totally see how from an audience perspective, and I might have the same thing for a musician I like, it's like, I really want this to keep coming, you know. But actually my experience of it is like, it's almost the opposite. It's like, the only point in me making this music is so that I can be free of ever having to do it again. That's the journey. And I understand that in doing that, there might be something valuable for the audience, for whoever might enjoy it. But it's missing the point to try and keep the cycle going. Because like I say, they're swan songs of death, of something that needs to die. So it's like going to a funeral and it's kind of sad, but it's kind of beautiful as well.
You don't want it to go on forever.
You don't want to go back the next day. Like, even if you had a really lovely time connecting with your family, like, let's do another one of them tomorrow and do the same funeral again. It's like, no, that was... You can maybe remember the funeral in your mind and, i.e., listen back to the old album, but to try and hope that you'll have the impetus to do the same funeral again the next day is like, it's missing the point of what the funeral was about.
So would you say that vibration is at the essence of the music?
Very much. That's what it is. That's what the music is. It happens if I'm having a kind of psychedelic journey and I'm going through an experience of some part of me, like having a realization about something that isn't real, and in that moment I have a mini kind of ego death. Often within that, I'll literally be hearing some melancholic music just playing in my mind or something. Just coming from something.
Your own music, or just...
It's just music. It's not anything I've heard before. It's very similar, often, to Julius Way kind of music. Happened to me a couple of days ago. And
that's interesting.
And that's what it is. You know, that's what the music is. I think it's, you know, there is some kind of death of an old idea happening, and it's like, you know, if the sun was evaporating this brain or whatever we're talking about, as that's happening, there's this fizzing noise that's evaporating. You know, that fizzing noise is the music.
So, who would you say this music is for then? Is it just for you to express this odour?
It's a good question. Who is it for? And what is it for?
Promotion aside.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm mostly beyond thinking about that. I'm trying to get beyond thinking
Yeah.
about that. Who is it for? I mean, well, I guess, I don't know if this is the right answer, but maybe it's for other people who are going through or have been through a similar kind of death of an idea, and they're looking for the right soundtrack. It's like a piece of art or a piece of music can help us get in touch with something which is a bit out of reach, that we're like, there's something kind of there, but it's a bit hazy. It's a bit kind of like there's this layer of fluff in between me and the thing, and I kind of want to experience that thing, but I can't quite get to it. The music or the art or something can kind of carve away through the fluff to be like, yeah, okay, that's it. So maybe that, or maybe just company. Like, I'm already feeling this thing, and like, there's the thing represented in some other form. That kind of gives me a nice feeling to just support me a bit, maybe while I'm going through the same process. Or maybe just in and of themselves, swan songs are kind of beautiful things, if they happen to be your flavour. It's like I guess watching something die is kind of similar to watching it live. It's like grieving it or something. You're kind of acknowledging the existence of this thing that has, although its time has come to an end, like it's no longer the right time for it to be alive and flourishing. That didn't mean that it didn't really serve a purpose at one point. So perhaps in the grieving and having the swan song, it's like also an acknowledgement of the birth and life of this thing, this character.
The idea of it being helpful to people that are going through an experience of unraveling their own identity, maybe deceptions, and coming up against maybe the despair or sadness, at least, that they're not alone.
Maybe that's it. And when you say that, it kind of makes me think maybe it can help to let go. Like when you sense the resonance of someone else going through a similar journey or having been through that similar journey, maybe it can help. Like if we're resisting letting go a bit, it can help kind of reassure us in allowing, because it's like, we often don't let go of things until we grieve them, I think, right? Like we have to grieve to feel that grief in order to move beyond them. And a good piece of art or music can definitely crack us open and connect us to feelings that really get those emotions flowing. So maybe it's a kind of spiritual lubricant in that way to something that we're resisting.
Boom. That's a wrap, man.